Hey gang, welcome back for our day 4 of our 5 video series in working on the mobility in your lower legs. Today we're going to be talking about the top of the foot. Now if you'll remember in day 3 we talked about lacrosse balling the bottom of the foot and some of the benefits that can have. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about mobilizing the top of the foot and the ankle. Similar to yesterday, I'm going to talk a little bit about how your feet have a lot of ability to articulate. There's 26 bones in the foot and there's 33 joints. So your foot should have a great deal of pliability to it. But that's not the case for most of us because of taking it back to wearing shoes a lot. Putting a shoe on your foot really locks down the amount of movement it's allowed to do. And so a lot of those muscles and connective tissue atrophy over time. The joints become less mobile, and that really affects a lot of things. It can affect how you walk, it can affect how you stand, it can actually start to affect things up the chain of your body, and you may not even realize it. So yesterday, or in the last video, we talked a bit about lacrosse balling the bottom of the foot. Today is going to be the top. The first thing I want to show you is some self-massage technique. Now, this can be pretty uncomfortable the first few times you do it, and I encourage you to still do it, but to take it easy while you do. Don't rush into it and like really jam anything into your foot. This is a sensitive area. There's a lot of nerves running through here. You want to be cautious to start until you get a feel for what that area is like. Now, the first thing is you're going to take your thumb and you'll start, I usually will start like right between my big toe and my second toe. And start up at the top of the foot, like right in through here. And I'm going to take my thumb, I'm going to turn it on its side, and I'm going to press the edge of my thumb firmly but slowly down in between the bones in my two toes that run right through here in my foot. I'm going to work that probably a few passes, and then I'm going to move on to the second one. And I'm just going to slowly work my way down the center there. You might catch the occasional like spark from a nerve or something like that. Might feel like a little electric shock. If things are pretty tight, doesn't always happen, but just be aware that if that does occur, it's okay. That's totally fine. It's all part of the process. And I'm just going to work my way all the way down until I get to the end, and then I may go back and I might do a couple of more passes. You don't need to do this, but maybe once a day. It doesn't have to be like this really long process, and it doesn't have to be like you really jamming in like you're going to cut your part of your foot off. Just enough pressure to really get in there and stimulate the muscles in between the bones to kind of separate and loosen a little bit, and to give yourself a little more pliability in your foot. So you can probably take, I would say, 2 minutes per foot to do that, and just kind of play around with that and see what you find. You may feel like the things are really gnarly and bound up in there. They may not feel that bad at all, but you won't know until you get in there and try. The other thing is you want to take your lacrosse ball, and I like to do this somewhat frequently, but I'll take my ball, and we talk a lot about rolling it on the bottom of the foot. That's easy to do, but I like to also take it up and roll the top periodically and see what comes up. Having the control of your hand on the ball in this sort of an area, which you can't get to by just laying on the ground very easily, can have some interesting results. I would normally start kind of right here, the back of the ankle, and kind of work my way down and around. You don't need a great deal of pressure here. This is really more about just getting some light pressure and friction in your ankle and your foot rather than actually trying to, it's not like foam rolling the calf. You want to go a little bit slower here and be a little bit more deliberate rather than just like blanketly covering a whole muscle in a pass. And I want you to also spend about 2 minutes on each foot doing this. So 2 minutes self-massage, 2 minutes lacrosse ball on each foot. That's going to equal 8 minutes total, which is a good mobility session. You don't need to really go beyond 8 or 10 minutes in any one day. If you want to make it a little bit longer, add a minute or so or 30 seconds onto each exercise, but I wouldn't go any longer than 10 minutes. If you start to make a mobility session much longer than that, it's really hard to maintain long term. People just don't get that kind of consistency. When you come home at the end of the day and you have an hour of mobility to do, that's no fun. Make it something you can do while you're watching TV real quick, or just before you go to bed. And then by the time I've gotten to the back of the foot here, I'm kind of like the outside of my heel, and just sort of working around the ankle bone and seeing what comes up. So try that today, guys. This is day 4. We've got one more video to go. You guys have been doing fantastic. I hope this has been beneficial. Any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'll see you all tomorrow.